What's up, nerds? We are your hosts. I am Jake.
And I'm Chad. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back.
Each week we take topics from the world of nerd, from TV to movies, games, news, comics, and sometimes books.
With that, we'll dive deep into theories, our opinions, and oftentimes some spoilers.
We will also sometimes bring friends, guests, and experts onto those onto experts on those
Do
topics
you want
onto
to
the show.
redo that?
No, we're good. It's
Okay.
fine. I'm human. We make mistakes. Onto the show to elaborate further on those talking points and projects, all while having some adult beverages.
So if you want to support the show, you can like, share, and subscribe wherever you find our show. You can also become a paid subscriber over at www.buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd.
So let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast. Tink.
Nerd. Welcome, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Jake, I hope you had a good week this week, but let's just jump right into our first topic, which is going to be what?
We're going to talk about Ahsoka, episode 6. And before we jump into it, just a spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. Come back, tune back in, and we won't ruin anything for you. If you have watched it, stick around. We're going to get into it right now.
I know that you've been struggling with the show
Mm-hmm.
because of various reasons, but how did you like this episode?
Okay, so this was the best episode so far, but as I mentioned to you, it still wasn't a good episode. I mean, it was good. Okay, let me retract. Yeah, it was good. I did enjoy it more than the rest of the show so far. I thought it was cool. We finally get Ezra and Thrawn,
Yeah.
which is dope. Because
Yeah.
how many episodes is this season supposed to be?
8 or 9?
Yeah,
I think just
so,
8.
I mean,
and this is episode 6.
so they really took a long time getting to
Or is it
the meat.
supposed to be 10? Because I could have sworn that the big episode with Ahsoka and the World Between Worlds and the flashbacks and stuff, which was just last episode, I thought that was supposed to be like the halfway mark. But I'm really enjoying the show. I say this every week, but you have pointed out some things that I do agree with. The choreography is meh. We've got some cool lightsaber duels, but as I've been rewatching the Clone Wars animated series, and I'm sure even as you're watching Rebels, that locking sabers happens quite frequently, but it seems like this show is pushing it to the max, which has been a huge complaint of yours.
Mm-hmm.
But was kind of cool is we're now on Peridia, which is in a whole new galaxy.
Far away, if you will.
Oh, I have a theory about that, but we'll get to this here in a second. But it was just kind of cool because, they've been talking about it and how they didn't know that it was actually real, but it's the homeland of the Night Sisters before they came to the main Star Wars galaxy, before Dathomir and all that stuff. But it was kind of cool because it's very like barren wasteland, which means that something terrible probably happened there over the course of time. But also it's just kind of cool to be like on a new planet outside of the galaxy where we know fuck all about. But we get Thrawn.
It's like, go on.
Well, I was kind of leaving like the next talking point up to you, but we
Yeah,
get
you wrote it down with exclamation marks. So I was like, he's very excited about this. I'm gonna let him.
yeah, we get Lars Mikkelsen live action Thrawn. Holy shit! I was talking to someone else about this who's also a huge fan, and a part of our other podcast, Dave, um, about my thoughts on seeing Thrawn.
Hmm.
They underplayed some of his like facial characteristics, but also it's been like, 6, 7 years and he's on a desolate place. Like maybe he let himself go a little bit. Um, and also like his facial structure is a little bit downplayed. And he was saying, he's like, yeah, that'd be a lot of prosthetics. And I was like, Ahsoka? Like, that's a lot of prosthetics. Like, they could have done it. Um, but
Hera.
Hera, just
Yeah.
the fact that so many of the droids, creatures, everything like that are practical effects. You couldn't have defined his forehead crease and his cheekbones a little bit more. I get it. It's Lars Mikkelsen. He can kind of be like, tone it down. I don't want to sit in the chair that long.
Hmm.
But it was still cool to see him
I
in the
can
live action
see,
role.
I can see a little bit of a just because I'm watching Rebels now, and I've just gotten to the part where they've introduced Thrawn. I can see a little bit of an annoyance with fans because in Rebels, I mean, he's like a badass. He's like fighting robots with his bare hands and shit. And like, you know what I mean? Like, and like doing flips over his desk and like when being attacked by said robots and shit like that. And Lars Mikkelsen, as terrifying as he does look, and he looks fantastic, I'm not saying
Yeah.
anything about that, doesn't really give me, and that's it, the way this show has just been going. He's not really giving me the vibes that he can do any of that awesome fighting that he was able to do. But so far, the fighting in this show has been a limp penis. So, uh, I'm not super surprised.
Yeah. The physicality of every single character in this show has been very much downplayed, especially considering the fact that it's like a continuation from an animated series.
I would say that one of my biggest, which I didn't even know that I was that upset about it until I started watching Rebels. This is what I was telling you the other day because I was like, I'm gonna start watching Rebels, and it's either gonna make me like Ahsoka more, or it's gonna piss me off even more. And it did the latter. I'm more annoyed with the Ahsoka series now that I'm watching the Rebels because they have, like you were just saying, they have downplayed in the live action series every awesome in Rebels. I like Sabine. I like Ahsoka. Like I like these characters in the live action. I like Ahsoka still. I do. But Sabine annoys the shit out of me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Ahsoka in Rebels, she's a fucking badass, dude. She's
Yeah.
like Master Yoda, like badass level. Like she's fucking. Her fight scenes in Rebels are intense and awesome. Uh, so far in the Ahsoka series, they have been not great.
Man. Yeah.
There's been like parts where you're like, oh, that was cool because she flipped her swords down or her sabers down or whatever. But like no flips, no like I mean, there are a little bit of jumping around here and there, but like the badassery that is lost on this show is pissing me off real bad.
Some of it almost feels like they approached it too heavily with the practical effects aspect of it,
Yeah.
where the prequels, let's be honest, they no practical effects. Let's be honest. But they didn't even like try and like meet in the middle, especially for these characters,
Yeah.
which has been kind of a huge bummer.
Yeah.
I'm still loving this show because of the characters, and I'm holding out hope for the story aspect of it to at least have some sort of satisfying resolution. But you're right. Like in the animated series, like all these characters are so awesome. And now
Sorry.
that it's all like practical effects, it's
So
just
just when you say that you're right, I just like level up a little bit. I'm
yeah.
like, oh.
Goes from 6 to 9:30 real fast.
Yeah.
It's because I love you. Um, one thing that I thought was really interesting, though, is that when we are introduced to Thrawn, and he still has like his Star Destroyer and like a platoon, not just squads of stormtroopers, but almost every single one of them, like their armor is damaged and it's been pieced together with like melted gold or like red wrappings and stuff like that. I'm intrigued because he has such a close connection to the Night Sisters on Peridia, and in the animated series for the Clone Wars, we know that they're notorious for reanimating dead bodies. So like, were these the amount of time that they were like in hyperspace connected to the Purgle, the space whales? You think that Thrawn just like stood calmly by while Ezra was getting them the fuck out of there? Like there had to have been some sort of fight. What happened? Like that had to be to a whole new galaxy at hyperspace. Like that's like weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And Ezra walked away from it. Like what the fuck happened? How many stormtroopers died? And then when they get to the place that's the birth of the Night Sisters, how many of those stormtroopers are reanimated? And to keep that magic in them, they had to repair their armor. Like I think in kind of a weird way that those might be like zombie stormtroopers.
That's kind of dope. I like that.
We'll see, because I mean we've already seen Merrick in this show. When he gets cut down, it's just like the fart escapes from him. It was so disappointing that he was just a reanimated corpse.
Yeah.
Because we had so many theories floating around that whatever. Don't want to get into that. But how many of these stormtroopers are just reanimated corpses?
Yeah.
Especially 15 years later? Oh, 10 years. They said it's been 10 years.
10 years, yeah. There's also these little dorky Ninja Turtles.
It's like if Gary from SpongeBob met Donatello and then they reproduced.
Yeah. But they lead us back to Ezra. Yay, Ezra. He's alive. If you haven't watched Rebels, which I'm not going to talk shit because I just started watching Rebels, but I'm almost done with it.
You've binged that harder than almost any other show that I've told you to watch that you've also enjoyed.
It helps that they're only like 20 to 30-minute episodes.
It does.
But also having a kid and having 2 weeks off for paternity leave was a big part of that.
Fair.
But yeah, so we know Ezra's alive. He has his blue eyes, those big dreamy blues.
Yeah,
they're there. And the guy who plays him, he looks great.
Aman Esfani.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said his last name correct, but
whatever.
Kill the personality.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way that
It's
he
awesome.
talks, it's like spot on.
If you've watched Rebels, I know that there are multiple main characters, but they kind of like center on Ezra
Yeah.
in that show anyway. I mean, obviously, this show is called Ahsoka, so she's the center point. But uh, he's like a side salad, a very, very cool side salad.
Well, I mean, he's like him and Thrawn are the plot point of Ahsoka.
Yeah, yeah.
Even
It's
from Mandalorian season 2, when we're introduced to Ahsoka, like she's
mm,
looking for Thrawn. We meet Morgan Elsbeth. Like
mm,
it's about Thrawn.
yeah. It's very exciting. He looks great. There is a small well, not a very large interaction, but they made a very small part out of it, where because we know that Sabine, being the annoying character that she is, uh, in this live action anyway, basically fucked over everybody to find Ezra,
Mm-hmm.
and he makes a comment about it, and he's like, how, like you found me and like there was no like consequences or something like that. And she's like,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
not talk about that right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're good.
Let me
But
just
really,
celebrate the fact that I found you instead
yeah,
of telling you how badly I screwed over.
yeah,
Even Thrawn said
you,
something. He's like, "You jeopardized the fate of your galaxy
yeah,
to find him."
yeah. And it really is like I lost my train of thought. But it really was oh, I lost it again. Okay, cool.
Um, there's some interesting aspects of Ezra when we see him live action and 10 years older. First
Mm.
off, under like his cloaks and stuff, which I'll touch on in a second, is he's wearing like a
Oh, I
chainmail.
bet you will
Mm.
touch under his
Uh,
cloaks. Sorry.
but he's wearing a like chainmail armor. But if you pause and look at it, the chainmail is made out of dog tags. So
It's mithril.
just like they kept track of the helmets in Rebels for their kills, which you pointed out to me just earlier tonight.
Like less than an hour ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, they're stormtrooper dog tags to make his armor. Like he's still keeping track of his kills, which
Yeah.
is fucking wild. First
Yeah.
off, but also looks super rad. And he's wearing red cloaks, which there's rumors going around. I don't fully agree with this. I just think that because they're
I think
on
it's
this,
reaching a little bit. Yeah.
I think because they're on this planet, that's probably what they have for dyed fabrics to make nice clothing. Is the red cloaks kind of mimic a little bit what the Night Sisters wear? My guess is he probably killed one of the other Night Sisters in the Coven because we only see three of them. How do three of them survive for as long as they have? Whatever.
That or maybe those turtle people like gave him clothes.
Yeah. Found him,
I mean,
or at least found him
they
fabric.
they have stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Some
they're
people
not
are
just
arguing that it means that he's no longer Jedi, not quite Sith, just kind of in the middle, like a
But
knight brother.
do you remember when in Game of Thrones when Jon Snow came out of the ice and there was like a reflection on the eye of his sword? Because he had the wolf sword of the handle
Oh, yeah.
wolf. And there was like as he's like climbing out of the ice water that he like fell in, or got tackled into by the zombies, there was like a reflection on the eye, and everybody online was like, "Oh my God, like his sword is like some kind of like fucking," and it wasn't. That's
Yeah,
this.
or when, I mean, this one kind of turned out to be true along the lines of Game of Thrones, like when he came back to life and his eyes started out like very pale and then faded back to brown. People are like, oh, it went purple first. That means he's Targaryen. I mean, that
Oh,
turned out to be true, but like I saw like 20 of those videos and only one of them I was like, that looks a little purple.
yeah.
Like sometimes it's just like overstretching for symbolism. And let's be honest, as much as I love Star Wars, and I love Star Wars, some of the fan base will stretch so hard to find meaning in dumb details. I've done it too with the whole like Merrick
Yeah,
thing.
and I love rumors. Like, go for it. But
I
yeah,
just don't think that, if anything, because Ezra was trained by Kanan Jarrus, he's probably the closest thing to like a true gray Jedi that people have talked about for decades at this point in time, especially
Mhm.
since Qui-Gon Jinn. He's probably just not a truly full Jedi. He's got his own moral compass, but wants to do what's right, but he's not going to follow the Jedi code at all turns to do it. But that's also proven in the animated series. So, I think that's just stretching.
All right, tell us this theory.
Okay. So I think that it was it's super silly because I saw this online, but it started to make sense because they've spent so much time on like all this story building, especially in Ahsoka, and now they're going to a different galaxy. The hype between Thrawn and Ezra coming back, all of this. But at the beginning, it is Ahsoka and Hu Yang inside the ship, inside of the whale, flying. And Hu Yang's like, I could tell you a story to ease your mind to help you calm down. And Ahsoka's like, no, 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 whatever. And then eventually she's like, okay, yeah, tell me a story. And then he goes, a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. And that's it. And then it changes scenes. The theory is that all of Star Wars that we've seen, because he's a droid, he's immortal. He's just like telling new younglings different stories. And he's the one telling these stories. Which would be fun.
He's like the Joker, and he's just got a different story for how he got his scars.
That's why sometimes the prequels to the original trilogy to the sequels to the animated series don't fully line up.
What? I
No,
mean,
I just
come on.
it was just a fun fan theory that I saw and I was like, that's fun. It doesn't hold any sort of weight to what's going to happen. I just thought it was I wanted to get I can't even
Wouldn't
say I
that
wanted
not make sense? Because, like, Luke wouldn't have even been alive yet.
but Hu Yang would still be because as a droid.
Yeah, but if he was telling the story to Ahsoka, how would
Yeah,
he know
but
that story if that hadn't happened yet?
he could be telling the stories of things that happened before. I don't know.
But
It
Luke
was
happened after because this
not
it
after this series. This is several years after the
was,
original trilogy.
it was only 10 years. It was 10 years after the end of Rebels.
Rebels.
And in Rebels, Anakin was very much alive.
Rebels takes place after episode 3.
Yeah. So Luke would only be 10 years old right now, according to according to Ahsoka.
No, he's in his 20s cuz Rebels takes place 14 to 15 years
Oh, so I
after
guess
Revenge of the Sith.
I haven't watched Clone Wars yet, so I don't know what the timeline of I in my head Clone Wars and Rebels are fairly close. That's
No.
not the case. Okay.
No, Rebels takes place like 4 years before A New Hope, which is 20 years after Episode 3 when Anakin
Gotcha.
becomes Vader.
Okay. So Luke is alive. Oh, I knew I'm stupid.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking stupid.
Rebels
because
and Obi-Wan
Leia-
almost are happening at the same time.
Leia is in Rebels as an adult. I'm a fucking dumbass.
She's like a 16-year-old.
Disregard everything I just said. Sorry. Moving on. Jesus Christ.
Ugh. On that note, let's talk about our first sponsor. We're really excited about this sponsor because it's a temporary collaboration that we're doing with a local brew pub here in Minnesota called the Nordic Brew Pub. It's based out of Monticello, Minnesota. They have a ton of awesome house brew. They also will sometimes have other local breweries come in to fill their tap lines and stuff like that. Fantastic food, whether you eat meat or like us, you don't. They've got a lot of great food for you. Again, that's Nordic Brew Pub. If you like or follow the podcast and you go in there and show them that you do that, your first beer is on us. So again, that's Nordic Brew Pub. Nordic Brew Pub, Monticello, Minnesota. If you like and follow the podcast, whether it's on social media or you're subscribed on Spotify or YouTube or anything like that, go in there, show them that you support the show, and your first beer is on us.
It's already paid for. It's just up there waiting for you to come claim it.
Absolutely. And they've got great beers and a good variety. From seltzers to IPAs to wheat beers and all kinds of sours and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, friends. This is the portion of our show where we talk about nerd news and potential spoilers and rumors. So I'll kick it off. Invincible. We've been talking about Invincible since it came out. The show is mind-blowing and
So
fantastic. And we've been eagerly waiting for season 2, which is coming in November.
I think it drops November 2nd because
Yeah.
it's a Thursday release, I believe. it's a
But
Friday
now
release,
it has
it's better.
been at least rumored that they're aiming for 7 to 8 seasons of this show, which, fuck yeah, dude. Please and thank you.
I'm just because of how like the first collection of the graphic novels, right? We're maybe a third of the way through that. But there's like enough to where if they kept the same pace, they could easily get 10 to 12 seasons out of it. But I'm sure as it goes on, like some of those fight scenes get way more intense,
Yeah.
where on paper they take so many more pages.
This
Where when
isn't
it's
supernatural.
animated, it's like bam,
We
bam,
don't need to
bam,
go
bam.
15 seasons long.
Yeah, I think
know,
7 to
let's-
8 they could
Yeah.
they could do very, very well based on the source material and just with some of those fight scenes when it's like I was saying, like printed on a page, take up way more time.
I also read, just side note, I read that they're going to focus on a more traditional cartoon, like the animation, a more traditional animation rather than how they did the first season. So it'll be probably dialed back a little bit on the animation side, but it'll look more like comic book accurate, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably more in, if I had to guess, just from that statement, embracing more of like, I mean, the writer and illustrators, they weren't making an anime, or in that case it'd be a manga, but it was still heavily influenced by that.
I think they're trying to not make the fans wait 3 fucking years for a sequel is probably what it is.
Yeah, I can live with that. Sounds better.
Yeah, but so that's the rumor we got there. I mean, I'm
just eager for season 2, which comes out in a little over a month. But also, they've already said that almost all of the voice work for season 3 is already done. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of the illustration. Now these fucking strikes that are still going on, are what's just causing a hindrance. And I'm sorry for anyone that can hear my dog just going absolutely bananas in the background.
She's just curious. She's just like walking around and...
So you didn't hear her go and then face plant into the ground to like rub
No,
her face
I
on
could
my
hear
floor.
her shake and I could hear her tags like jingling, but I didn't hear any of the other stuff.
Okay. But
tell us the other one.
Yeah. Also, well, just because I mentioned the writer strikes and I didn't write that down, for anyone that wants to support these artists, the writers, the actors, this mostly goes to the actual working writers in strike, and the actors that are in strike. There is a link in our show notes if you want to donate to it, to help them survive. What's really cool, moving on from that very quickly, because Jake has given me the let's wrap it up sort of
I
thing.
just feel like we should put that at the end of the show. We can cut this out if you want to, because
Oh,
then we're not talking about the nerd stuff. You know what I mean?
well, it
Like, let's.
provides a lot of nerd stuff.
No.
If this is where we leave it, we can leave it there. What's interesting is that for the IMDb page of Deadpool 3, Channing Tatum's long-term stunt double is listed under cast, or at least people that worked on it, which gives us the impression that we're at least going to finally see Channing Tatum as Gambit. He was supposed to star in his solo Gambit film, and then the whole Disney acquiring Fox happened. That got scrapped.
What did you think about Taylor Kitsch as Gambit? That was in
I think that it was...
Origins.
Yeah, I think that my impression of that was very much soured by how much I didn't like that movie. Because I didn't hate him
Yeah.
portraying Gambit. I didn't like the whole, like, hippie aesthetic.
Yeah.
But
The long hair.
the long hair, not as overly cocky, but still had a couple one-liners. Like, Gambit's got a mouth on him, right? Like, he's just...
It's like a merc with a mouth. I mean, no, that's not good. That was a joke.
I see
I
what
would
you
not
did
be
there.
doing a podcast about nerd shit if I didn't know that. I was just joking. I
So-
liked it. I actually liked it.
Yeah, I
and
didn't
now
hate
he's
it.
yeah,
But
probably a little old for the role now, but and I love Channing
he's like
Tatum.
the same age as Channing Tatum. He's pretty close.
But he doesn't look as
That's
as
fair.
good.
Well,
Sorry.
Channing Tatum
Taylor.
probably made a deal with Mephisto. I mean, the devil. I mean,
Oh, sorry, yeah. I always mix that up with Mephisto and
Yeah.
Mephisto.
yeah. But I mean, it'd
We're
be
also
cool.
a little vulgar on this show, in case you're new here. Hi.
We're the problem. It's us.
I love Channing Tatum for this. I think he looks like Gambit. You put a fucking brown trench coat on the guy and a headband, Gambit. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't even have to spend much money on making him look like the guy. He
And
already
he's
looks like him.
from New Orleans. Sorry,
Yeah.
as they would say, Nolans.
Nolans.
Nolans. And he tried for so many years to get that role, and then it went into pre-production, and then Fox stopped it because they're like, "Hey, Disney's buying us," and then that was the end. Not
His
to be
only friend,
not
the end.
to be confused with Channing Tatum's role in This Is the End, but that was the end for Channing Tatum.
Just the
as Gambit.
gimp.
I love him.
I slut up in that whenever I want.
Oh my god, that's Channing Tatum.
Oh, hey guys. He like lifts his mask up and goes, "Hey guys."
Great movie.
We're definitely
Yeah.
moving on. We got a first official trailer. We had a teaser trailer about a month ago. We got our first official trailer for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, starring the kid from the Adam Project,
Is Scoble? Is it
Walker.
Walker Scoble?
Yeah. I was just kidding. I knew his first name.
And I knew his
And you
last
knew
name.
his second name. That's why we do this. Teamwork.
Makes the dream work.
Oh shit! It looks really fucking good. I'm really excited about this. I loved the books ish. and I liked the movies ish.
Uh, uh,
It looks fucking good.
I
It
never
looks
read the
fucking good.
book, so I can't speak on it. I really enjoyed the first movie. The second one I thought was meh.
No.
The trailer for this, I mean, because it's going off the books, right? So, in like the first movie was very much like off the first book. So, there's a lot of like
It's
same
def
little
it's the
things that
lightning
you see.
thief. So
Yeah,
if you've already seen the movie, you
you
already know.
the plot,
Yeah. But
but
it's a series instead of a movie, and I think that's cool.
and they're way more age accurate, which
Age accurate, and
is a
the graphics
little
are better.
disturbing at the same time because they're fucking children.
What do you mean they're fucking children?
Like they are just straight up young kids.
Oh, okay. You worded that
I
awkwardly.
did it.
I thought
Well,
you were like, they're
no one would have
fucking children. I
thought
was like, who's
twice.
fucking
No
children?
one would have thought twice about how I phrase it until you said something. So that's on
Well, you
you.
paused. You paused in a weird spot, and
Did not.
scared me a little bit.
But they are just they're kids. They're little kids instead of like 18-year-olds like they were in the movie. So that's because some creepy things happen, unnerving things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
think the
excited
graphics
for it.
look good. They show the bowl in the trailer,
So
which
much
is
better.
looks way better than the movie. Holy
Yeah.
shit. That bowl in the movie was atrocious.
Yeah, it was not great.
But
Or the Banshee
yeah.
looks so much cooler.
I want to see
Plus
who's gonna
Lance
play.
Reddick.
I'm who's playing. I'm gonna look it up. You talk. Tell them that joke, or
Well,
move on to the next topic. I don't care. I want to know who's playing Poseidon.
oh, I don't know that, but we do
I'm
get a
looking it
look
up.
at Lance Reddick as Zeus, which is crazy because this is his last
Final role, yeah.
performance. So I don't know how they're going to do that, if they're going to recast him moving forward. Like I said, I didn't read the books, but in the second film that they did with, what's that, Logan Learman, um, they Zeus isn't in the second movie, but
Because it
how are they going to
wasn't
do
Zeus Sean Bean in the movie?
it? Yeah, it was
I
like one of
swear
his
it was.
only film roles where he isn't killed.
All right, let's see. No way. Wow. I'm just looking at the cast list and I'm like, oh God, this is hilarious.
Hilarious.
Well, like the fucking Pimento from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is in there.
Oh, Adrian.
No, it's Jason Mantzoukas or something like that.
Oh, it's Jason. I thought it was Adrian. Now I feel dumb because.
Let's see. Aries, Grover Underwood.
Oh my God, he's also in Big Mouth. Uh,
Oh yeah. There's no listed from at least what I'm looking at. No listed. So maybe they don't introduce
well, or they're just trying to keep it under wraps because it's like a later episode.
yeah, that could be too. No, wait, Megan Mullally. The chick from she's married to Ron Swanson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mullally.
I don't
There's
know.
so many L's in her fucking name. It's like Mullally.
Tell me about it.
All right, I'm done. Sorry. I did not get the answers I was looking for. I apologize for wasting everybody's time.
Is it, oh, she's oh, Mrs. Dodds. Isn't that the Banshee?
Electo. It's what I'm looking at. Says her name is Electo.
Electo / Mrs. Dodds is what I'm looking at. Lin Manuel Miranda plays Hermes, which is Luke.
What? He's not even showing up on my phone. What do you look at? Are you on Google?
IMDb. I'm using like,
IMDb.
I don't know, the official source for castings
I went
instead
Google.
of Google.
Sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Oh, Toby Steffens is who's playing Poseidon. Um, I'm not seeing anything where he's been like a main person, but in like Black Sails, 13 Hours, who's in Die Another Day, which is obviously a Bond film with Pierce Brosnan, which is also ironic because wasn't Pierce Brosnan in the first Percy Jackson film?
Yes.
Yes.
He was the centaur. Oh, this guy. I
And
know
then he
this
was
guy. He
recast.
was
Yeah.
in Lost in Space, the Netflix series of Lost in Space. He
Oh,
plays the dad.
I didn't watch that yet.
What? It's so good.
That's what I've been told. Not just by you.
Danger, Will Robinson. We are approaching max time limit.
Yes, absolutely. Um, and then also the kind of the last thing was Timothy Chalamet is
Chalamet.
rumored. This is a
Chimalet.
heavy rumor to be Robin in. It just says the upcoming Batman movie.
He's not doing it.
He's spoken out in the past that he wouldn't do a superhero movie. You pointed out that DiCaprio was the one that told him not to do it.
Stay away from superhero movies. Yep.
Um, but also in the rumor, it doesn't say which Batman film. Like, is it the Batman 2 or is it James Gunn's The Brave and the Bold? Like, we don't know.
Don't want him in either of those things.
He,
Well, I actually so
if it's
in
the
I can
Batman,
rule out the Batman because he's too old.
yeah,
They confirmed that Dick Grayson will be introduced in The Batman, which is the follow-up to The Batman, with Robert Pattinson. Dick Grayson's character will be a teenager.
yeah.
Timothy Chalamet will be he's too old for that.
Yeah, he's
So
like in his mid 20s.
if there's any truth to it, it would be in James Gunn's garbage fire that is DC right now.
And I think
Um,
that's exactly what I responded when you sent me that was like,
yeah,
don't do it, Timothy. Don't join a dumpster fire.
yeah. I think you and I have both agreed on who would play the best Robin, and I forget his name. I think his last name's like Gallagher. It's the kid from shit, sheet,
Shit.
Umbrella Academy, number four,
Oh, that plays
number...
5.
Yeah,
Because
five.
he's the only
Yeah,
one that doesn't actually like get a name.
Aiden Gallagher.
Yeah.
Is it Aiden Gallagher? Yeah, that kid.
That
would
sounds
fucking...
right. I'm gonna look it up while you're
Look it up,
talking about
please, so I can apologize when you tell me I'm wrong.
it.
But
It is
that
Aiden
kid,
Gallagher.
it is a yes. There are things firing up here, I promise, guys. That kid would kill it as Robin, like a young Robin, not like Dick Grayson status Nightwing.
I mean, he's
No,
20 right now, but he could
yeah,
pass
but he's just
for
so
like a
little.
15-year-old.
Yeah,
You
he's
know.
just so little. Yeah. I would love. That's good casting. I mean,
Mhm.
why the fuck am I not making money doing this? Jesus Christ.
We don't know the right people. Our parents don't have famous last names. Nepotism.
The trickle down effect did not benefit us.
You have to be like really Republican for that to work. Tell them about our other sponsor, Jake. Sometimes we get a little political as a joke, but it's not a joke. Okay.
Sponsor number 2 is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce. It's called Crybaby Craig's. It goes on fucking everything. It's so good. Listen up. I'll tell you more about it.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. All right, everyone. Now we are going to talk about Gran Turismo, the movie, not the game. But it's named after the game because it's based on a true story. Before we get into it, if this is something that you actually want to go watch, spoiler alert, pause. You can go
They all
check
die.
it out.
Godzilla
Yeah.
comes. Yeah.
It's all about family.
Sorry we ruined it.
No, this movie was so much better than what we expected.
Yeah, it was better than. I don't know if I would throw the "so" in front of there, but it was better than I expected.
That's fair. I guess I was expecting it to have the name Gran Turismo, take a little bit of fact, and then just remake Need for Speed without Aaron Paul. But this movie was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, you got some heavy hitters in there. David Harbour, Orlando Bloom.
He hasn't
That's
been in
about it. And
he hasn't been in a whole lot lately, but his name still like draws people because he was such a huge star for so long. You know, like a couple decades ago.
For a decade. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's so mean.
You hear Josh Hartnett's name and you're like, I'm going. So like Orlando Bloom's got to be close to that at the very least.
Yeah.
But this movie was really awesome. And based on a true story. All about how we're gonna say it the American way, Nissan.
Nissan.
Yeah, Nissan. Took the best Gran Turismo players in the world, threw them into a contest. The top 10 from different regions got a chance to train professionally to become actual race car drivers. This movie was rad.
And it worked out because they won Le Mans.
Well, they came in third. They podiumed.
Yeah.
At the very least. But that's the Le Mans 24-hour race. That's incredible.
Yeah.
To have people that over the course of about a year
and
going
it sounds
from only simulation to
when you think about it and when you watch it, it sounds ridiculous. They're like, this is a video game, blah blah blah. You can't actually race cars. But then when you actually think about it, this is the same thing that NASA does before they send people into space. They make you simulate.
And how many airlines also use simulations for their pilots and stuff?
I literally, when I was a little kid, I did a fucking like a what do you call it? Like a jet simulator. It was sweet. It was scary, but it was sweet. It was like a pod you sit in, and it fucking like did all the
things
or whatever.
Those at the mall.
I don't remember
the Mall of America.
Maybe that's where I did it. I don't know. I was little, but anyways, like simulations are used as training tools for people who have to actually do real shit.
Because that's way cheaper than, I don't know, crashing $1 million, $1 billion crafts.
So on one hand, you can say, and they do in the movie quite a few times, this isn't a video game, this is real life. Like, you can't race a car. You have played video games. But then on the other hand, they're like, this is not a game, it's a race simulator, and these people that are playing this game to the extent and the capability are actually probably okay to do it, and they do, and they prove that right.
And they
other than the one time that the main guy flipped off the course and killed a spectator, but which they show in the movie in gruesome detail. He gets like fucking squished like a potato. And you see everything.
Think Lord of the
I'm
Rings
kidding.
with the dude
I'm
eating
kidding.
the cherry tomato and just no, that's
They
gross,
don't
and
show
I'm
it at
sorry.
all. No, I was just kidding. Yeah.
Um,
And that's somebody that in real life that died, so we're sorry. We're
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, that was actually very insensitive of us.
Uh,
But
yeah.
Mr. Yamauchi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the person that developed the Gran Turismo game, that was his entire sole purpose, was to create the most realistic car racing video game slash simulator
Yeah.
to give that experience to game players.
Hmm.
Um, and it clearly worked because what's really cool is that Jan Mardenborough, who is the main character of the movie, played by Archie Madekwe. Madekwe. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I apologize for that. But the real life Jan Mardenborough was the stunt driver. You know, after coming in third at the Le Mans 24-hour race,
Mm.
solidified the fact that sim drivers actually are talented enough to be actual race car drivers with a little bit of like
With I was like
physical.
with some training.
Yeah, once you add the physicality to it.
They didn't just go, "Hey, you played this video simulator game. Here's a race car. Get out there and show me what you got."
I
There
mean,
was
taking
training.
corners at like 100
Yeah.
miles an hour,
Yeah.
you know, you have to be prepared for it. But it was just really cool, and to know that the one of the main stunt drivers for the film was the person that this movie was about.
Yeah. There's some, you know, some cute pictures at the end that, they show the real life people, which is really cool. So you can kind of see like who the actual guy was, his dad. Um, yeah, I think it was a very fun movie. It was not what I was expecting. I had basically taken a day to just do my own thing, and I was like, I'm gonna go up to Applebee's and have a beer and a shot and treat myself to lunch. And Chad had reached out to me on my way to Applebee's, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm." He's like, "What are you up to?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna go see this Gran Turismo movie, but before I'm just gonna go to Applebee's and grab some lunch." And he's like, "I'm on my way," and I was like, "Dope." And so
Yeah.
we ended up going together, and it was a lot of fun. So, um, it was just a spontaneous thing. I honestly had no interest in this movie prior to going to it. I
Like,
just
I
found a
wanted to
movie that,
see it, but
yeah.
I was like, I'm not super invested in this, so like
I'm
I'll
just
wait
not a car guy. It's not
until I
like
can
my
like
thing.
watch it, on until I can stream it. And
Yeah.
then you're like, "Well, I'm going." And I was like, "Well, I wanted to see it and we get a chance to hang out for a little bit. Let's go." It
Yeah.
was pretty freaking good.
That was pretty good.
I think that covers a lot of the pros. What are some of the cons that you had for the movie?
I know I had them.
I think that the only
Help a brother out.
con that I had, and it was something that you pointed out, was this movie is
Oh,
like 2 hours
uh,
and 10 minutes, right? They could have
15, I think, but
they
yeah,
could have
whatever.
easily added an extra 20 minutes to this movie. And during like the qualifying races where it's like, oh, green light means go. And then they show some like quick cars going around corners, and then it's like lap 7, lap 20. Like they could
Yeah.
have
They,
just
z- yeah.
spent
It
a little
went
bit more
through it very
time on that.
fast. Yeah. It was like it just went super fast from like you said, green light, go. And then it was like, you know, they would do like a 30-second lap or some shit like that. And then it'd be like, so and so came in this place. And you were like, oh, what? I didn't even get to see like the race. Like I wanted to see more of the race.
Yeah.
And they kind of cut that
And
out until
some of
like
the
the third
reasons.
act. Yeah, like the third act of the movie that you definitely get that like racing and stuff. But in the beginning, it's a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, because I mean, also during that, like the first qualifying race, because the big thing was it's like a circuit of like 6 races or something like that. Um, for Jan to qualify, he has to place at least fourth to be granted like his from the amateur circuit. He has to
His
place at least
license.
fourth to get his FIA license to race professionally. And some of them, it was like the first race. It's like he's a close to placing, and then he gets driven off the course. He spins out, whatever. Nothing big or damaging. And then the next 4 races, it's like green light, go. Lap 7, he's in this place.
Mm.
End of the race, he placed 20th. He
Mm.
placed 14th. He placed 7th. Like, so it like showed the progression, but it didn't show the races. And it would have been cool because
It's a
especially
racing
for
movie.
someone that's into, because it's not quite F1, but it's along those lines. You know, like seeing those courses are awesome. Is my
Nope, I did that because I was chewing ice into the microphone and I was like, that's rude. So I like moved over a little bit.
but I mean the movie was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to anyone.
I'll even watch it again. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it
I want to get
way
the
more
game.
than the game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get like a full like simulator like car seat, steering
Uh,
wheel, pedals situation, but like I want to play it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean I grew up playing like Need for Speed and Forza and shit like that, but I don't think I've ever played Gran Turismo. Um,
I have it like arcades and shit. I don't think I ever played it at home though.
yeah,
No.
that's fair. But anyways, go check out the movie. We surprisingly not.
I sail this one.
Yeah, it was.
So
It
we
was
do a
good.
sink or sail.
Yeah,
When it comes to movies that are out that we watched, and I actually sail this one. I didn't think I would, but I do. Go
I
watch
did
it.
too.
It's fun. All right, before we close out this episode, we are going to talk about our honorable mentions. Chad, what do you got?
Well, since last week, I did watch the first, I think, 4 episodes of Interview with a Vampire,
Hmm.
which I'm really enjoying. But then the latest episode of Ahsoka came out, and then I heard that you were watching your one of your honorable mentions. So then I started watching, or picked up where I left off with the Clone Wars,
Nice.
the Star Wars animated show, and fuck, I'm liking them both. So if anyone hasn't watched them yet and are a fan of either the original Interview with the Vampire movie or just like good vampire content, check that out. Or if you're a fan of Star Wars and didn't give the animated series a chance, watch the Clone Wars. It's fantastic. What about you? What do you have for honorable mentions?
Well, I finished Interview with the Vampire, and it was fantastic.
Mm.
It's like fucking crazy good. I'm actually curious to see. I never read the book. It's Anne Rice. Anne Rice, I believe, is the author. So I am curious to hear if anybody has any, not theories, but opinions about the difference between the book, the movie, and the TV show. Because, again, I didn't read the book, but the ending of the movie and the TV show do not align. And I was like, that's not how that happened in the movie. So I'm curious how it happened in the book. If you know, let me know. Other than that, I have been watching Star Wars Rebels. Um, it's animated, but it is where the Ahsoka live action Ahsoka series comes from, is the continuation of this 4 season show on Disney Plus is where you can watch it. It is so good. Like this show the animated show 10 times more than I like the live action show. It's so good. I'm on mid to end season 3 right now. Only one season to go. It's a lot of fun. It does help, um, as Chad was saying weeks ago, it does help a little bit with characters and understanding their backgrounds a little bit. If you're like me, it'll piss you off a little bit because the live action lets you down on those characters quite a bit. Um, but yeah, that's my favorite thing I'm watching right now. And then I did make my girlfriend watch The Exorcist
Oh, that's
in
right.
anticipation for the second one coming out, which is a continuation of the first one. It's the mom from the first movie is in the new movie, so it is definitely a sequel, not a reimagining. And if you haven't seen the trailer, fucking go watch it because it looks terrifying. And
I'm so
I
not
know
looking
that the
forward to it.
original was made in the 70s, but it's unnerving. We watched it I mean, it's not scary. That's the thing. I don't know how else to put it. It's not a scary movie. There's no jump scares. There's not like gore. There's not like, I don't know there's no ghosts, you know what I mean? But it just fucking rubs you the wrong fucking way. And I mean, that's the point of the movie. So I'm really excited to see what the new one is going to be like because with technology now and special effects, it's going to be scary, really scary. I know it. And I'm going to make you fucking watch it,
I
you
know. I already
big
agreed to it.
baby.
My only stipulation is that when we go see it, it's in the middle of the day so I can go home. And
Yeah.
if
So you
I'm
can open the windows in the
uncomfortable,
theater if it's too dark.
yeah. Well, no, not that, but just when I go home, I can. There's enough time in the day to where I can watch something else to make me feel better.
Shrek.
Yeah, I
My
can.
go-to is Shrek. Anytime I watch something that just fucks me up, I'm like, watch one of the Shrek movies.
Yeah.
And it always puts me to bed until I wake up at like 3 in the morning and the house is pitch black. And then I'm like, oh, where's the remote? Where's the remote? So I
Oh,
could turn the TV back on. And, yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, those are mine. A lot of fun. Scary,
Yeah.
fun, Star Wars words.
Star Wars. Yes, absolutely. I've
Okay,
heard of
bye.
those. For those of you that have stuck around long enough and like what we're doing here and want to support us, what's the best way to do that, Jake?
Give us your money.
Yeah,
We like money.
we
We
do.
want more of it.
And
Give it to me.
the best, it's my money and I want it now.
Call JP Wentworth.
I see what you did there. Um, any money that we get, we don't pocket. It goes right back into the show. We have surprisingly somehow gotten more. Our unpaid staff outnumbers us. It's I'm not proud of it because we would like to pay them, but we just can't yet because all the money that we get goes right back into the show. So if you want to support us, the best way to do that is to go to buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd. It's an awesome way to support the show. You get to choose your monthly contribution. You get bonus things from member exclusive merch, group chats with us, behind the scenes, all those things, discount codes. Everything like that is included depending on the level that you give at. If you don't want to give us your money on a monthly basis, I mean, we understand, but lame. Um, the next best thing would be to go to allthingsnerdpodcast.com. That's where our web store is, so you can pick up some merch. We are in the process of transferring from dropship merch to in-house produced merch because of contributions from our listeners like you. So it just gives us more control. You can get some limited run items and everything like that, and some more personal touches. Um,
We also have a new website coming.
yeah, courtesy of Digicat Tech. And Marty over there is working on our new website that should be launching here relatively soon.
Yeah,
If
it's almost done.
we would be better about helping him along his way. We're getting there. It's going to launch, and when it launches, it's going to be sweet.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. If you don't want to give us any of your money, whether it's for a monthly basis or just buying merch from us where you still get something for that cost, just like, share, subscribe, tell people about the show if you enjoy it. That's
Word
honestly
of mouth.
that's
Word of
honestly the
mouth.
best way to support us, because the more people that listen, the more likely that you don't have to give us your money and someone else will. That's cool too.
But
Um,
still give us your money.
I mean, please. We're actually not that greedy. Like I said, we don't take any of the money. It goes
We've
right
been
back
doing
into the
this for
show.
years now, and
Yeah.
we have been doing it on our own salary, so.
Yeah.
But it would help. We like to do bigger, better things, and we can only do that if we have the financial ability to do so. Um, like going to cons and going to
Various
other,
events.
yeah.
Some guests might require some sort of payment to come on the show.
Hmm.
Um, so that just helps us bring you more. But either way, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate the support. We love you all. And this has been the All Things Nerd Podcast.